it's almost Christmas time. I wasn't sure, if people are too busy. And I don't even know. Candace hasn't given an announcement if I'm assuming she's going live, but I didn't hear her say anything that she was off this week. So we're just assuming she's going to go live, and maybe she's just a little bit later than usual. It's so funny because last week I underestimated when she was going to start because she had been on a roll of starting a little bit later, and so I was unprepared. And so now, when she gave us the alert, I'm like, oh shoot, she's going on a lot sooner than I thought she would be. But anyways, we'll see. We'll see. But nonetheless, there's a lot to talk about. Last week, I have to be honest, and hello to everybody. Say hi in the chat, please. Make sure you like this stream, subscribe, hit all notifications so that you can get a notification when we go live. So please, and also periodically hit the heart button next to the chat so that it helps the algorithm recognize it and populate us and send us to more people. Anyway, I have to be fully honest. I needed a break. Yes, last week, at the end of last week, it was a lot. There's so much negativity, so much infighting, and for me, I'm the type of person who I really carry things, especially things that are important to me, like our world and people and humanity. I carry it pretty deeply and it weighs on my shoulder. I carry that, and it's a choice that I've made, and it's something because I've decided to throw my voice in, because I think there's a lot of things I have to say that are important and should be heard. So then to be able to to go onto social media and to go consume the information that I want to share and talk about, I'm getting used to that. And so last week I was like, I'm going to take a break. But wouldn't you know it? So last week, at the end of the week, Candace had her my whole point is, so I didn't go live, and why isn't this window popping open? And she had some pretty excellent words to say to Ben Shapiro, and I wasn't there to talk about it, and I wasn't there to react with you guys and to do that pump fist and that jump up and down and and all of that. But I'm going to yeah, okay. So I was disappointed, but anyways, how did you guys like it? Did you catch last Friday's show? Amazing. It was so amazing the way she went off on Ben Shapiro. Sup, homie? Sup, chat? Hi. It's good to see you back again. Anyway, raise your hand. Do something in the chat to tell me if you saw the show last week where she just really lit in to Ben Shapiro. It was delicious. Yes. Let's see. Yes, I've never seen her like that. Yes, she's been on fire. When she goes scorched earth, she really goes scorched earth, right? So let me play that again for you, just in case. Let me get to see if I can find that. Really, she is used to not cussing. She even when she had Ian Carroll sub for her and fill in while she was on maternity leave, he had to agree to not use curse words. So the fact that she's willing to do that. Let me see. I'm going to add this to the stage and see if we can get to that part. And this is the wrong. I'm going to stop screen because that's not the right screen here. And share my screen again. That's the one. Okay. Let me get her back on there. Here it is. Here she is. Okay. So it was amazing. let's see, Vivid. Uh, I loved it. I watched it 3 times. Oh my gosh. I've watched it so many times, and each time it's just as delicious. It's mwah, chef's kiss, chef's kiss. So let me see if I can find that so we can just enjoy it again together, because oh my gosh. Let's see.
To debunk those two aspects. 2 is Vegas. So that could just be
Okay.
act like you were there all day, cook. I had sent a few congressmen that
Ben,
and I just
did you
found
see
that
the
to be
memes that were
interesting. And
going
yeah,
around?
so I don't
So
know what
she
the reason
is
would
on.
be to say that you didn't.
Put that on mute while I find it. So yes, so the memes of Shapiro Shapiro on a horse, on a midget horse. Gosh. Okay, let me see.
I just sense that there's something there.
Okay.
Because Ben is
Let's
coming
go.
undone, and he only comes undone about one topic, and that is Israel. So we will take a break, and I will answer some of your questions.
Okay, so we got to go back just. Okay, is it here?
I don't know about any of this at all, but it is interesting that they had a relationship, and I don't know why that's being wiped from the memory. There's nothing wrong with having a relationship before you find love of your life at all. And so I'm hopeful that we can get some answers. And that's why I ask them publicly. When I can't get answers privately, I ask them publicly. Do you want to know why? Because I have a right to ask questions.
Yes.
And like I said, I don't like the way Ben is signaling that he doesn't want people looking into Erika. Okay. And when people start looking in, they then find that a Daily Wire employee dated her. So that seems interesting, to say the very least. And we should figure out, what's actually going on. Like, what is actually going on? He even says the Mossad. I never once said the Mossad killed Charlie Kirk. So was that by accident? Definitely starting to think in a major way that Israel's got something to do with killing Charlie Kirk. And the Egyptian planes, which we are putting the final touches on, because I don't want there to be even one typo or mistake on this, that we're going to put up on our website. It leads you to Israel. It just does, okay? That's why we open you guys. Wachuka. We'll take a break, and I will answer some of. When you choose Pure Talk, Nimi. Okay, you guys, I'm reminding you, if you would like to purchase my book, this 10, and you'll get 10% off your. Bring hell on himself if he was not telling the truth. I know people were in control. Friend, just as I was and am, and will continue to fight and ask questions about who killed Charlie Kirk. And to people that are at home, I implore you to wake up to these people who believe that they are contract lords. I challenge Black Americans. And every time my feelings are hurt, because what you really believe in is I don't have to say we don't know no when it comes to you. You are such a joke of a little man.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you guys, if you can find the minute marker, I might have found it here
with you.
Oh,
okay. About them.
Here
that is a non-starter. When Candace Owens says, "I don't know, but I know," that is retarded, and we are all more retarded for having heard it.
Well, Ben, when it comes to you and having worked with you, I just know the tactics that you use to feign popularity in the public. I just know the amount of money that you are willing to spend on advertising to inflate your numbers to make people think that you're popular. So, yeah, I don't have to say we don't know no when it comes to you. You are such a joke of a little man. Your jealousy against Tucker, your ability to believe that you can keep manipulating the markets. You know those kids booed you on that stage. The amount of messages I got from Turning Point USA people saying,
they did too. I watched all of Turning Point for you guys so that we could talk about it. And yeah, so he started talking about it and they booed. I mean, there was some applause, but they booed.
What is happening? Why is he on this stage standing against everything that Charlie believed in? That's what you're doing. You're standing against everything that Charlie believed in because you weren't his friend. He didn't like you for that very reason. I look at you and I just think you are such a little worm. I could see you right now, probably. What can we get out to her? We're going to sue her into bankruptcy again, right? Sue her for every infraction, every word that I don't like, and every time my feelings are hurt. Because what you really believe in is Baal Berith. That's what your people believe in. You believe that you are contract lords and that people are not allowed to violate contracts or you will ruin them.
If you guys know the minute marker where she actually says, F you, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to play this. I think this is it, but it might be before.
For years, you fire someone and you effectively stalk and harass them for years after. I'm here to let you know that
And this is the first I've really heard about this. Did you guys know that? He's been stalking, like doing this to her for all these years since she left Daily Wire. I didn't know this. And I really hope she sues. She should. That's harassment.
done with it. I am done with it. This
here
one
it
is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin and Andrew Christ is King Clavin and all of the people, the men who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you. You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew. And I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals.
Okay. So yeah, that was amazing. I enjoy it every time. Vivid. I appreciate that you do too. So, TPUSA, AmericaFest. Have you guys ever seen it? Did you guys know what it was about before this year? I didn't. So I went to it. I watched a lot of them. I had to put on, fast, like almost 2.5 times for a lot of the time. It was pretty evident. It was there. It's a commercial, just like his Charlie Kirk's memorial was a commercial. This is just as much. I did not expect that. So I expected to hear something different, to hear something new, some fresh ideas. And it was just banging the same drum over and over and over again. And did you know that the cost of these tickets, we looked it up, it was, so students could get in for $85. The rest of them were $350 upwards to $1,000 to attend this event, which was a giant commercial for the Republican Party, for the conservatives, and also for some products that they, wanted to. There was a financing person who got up there for refinancing. Anyways, what did Jeff say? Watched most of it. First time ever, though. There was a few points of a good open speaking, which surprised me, but majority seemed like a Republican convention. It did. And I would be mad. I don't want to pay $1,000 to go hear your campaign speech. I can hear that for free on debates and all that. I'm back. I was watching the Keynote Cathedral channel to laugh at Quarter Pounder Jeremy Ampley. Yeah, so it was a big commercial. And Ben Shapiro, he went in and he did his thing. I'll play you this clip. So I'm not going to play you what's been going around a lot of social media. It's the other one. So this kid gets up and to me, everybody's a kid. Like, they all look so young now. Oh my gosh! And speaking of young, last night on one of the last speakers, there was a bunch of kids who were running for Congress, and they're in their 20s. They're so young. Like, their frontal cortex hasn't even closed yet. I mean, we need fresh fresh blood and fresh perspectives, but I don't know about all that. I mean, as long as they can do the job, but they were pretty arrogant. Anyway, Ben Shapiro was on at the end of his speech. It was time for debate, right? Which isn't a debate at all. And a kid got up and asked him about USS Liberty. And Ben Shapiro, to me, was visibly uncomfortable. So the kid kept persisting on asking him, how do you think that's irrelevant? Because Ben Shapiro has gone other times, and what he said is it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to us today because our relationship with Israel is different today. It's not. It's no different. In fact, our relationship, when I say worse, is worse for America, better for Israel, but still working in coordination with Israel to do all kinds of shady junk. Shapiro. So he, to me, was screaming or squirming. The girls, I'll let you watch, but the people with the mics had to be told to not give this kid the mic back because they wanted to cut it off. Ben did a terrible job. He's a terrible debater. He hid behind the podium for, the first part of the first question that another student asked him. But watch this. Let me add this one.
Thank you for being here, Ben. You cited during your speech truth as the most important tenet of American conservatism. Why, therefore, did you call irrelevant the Israeli attack in 1967 on the USS Liberty, which left dozens of American servicemen dead and hundreds wounded?
So what I actually said is that if we're looking at modern Israeli-American relations, looking at an attack that happened mistakenly by multiple Navy reports, multiple Israeli reports, and all available evidence, and using that attack in order to undermine today's relations between Israel and America, that's irrelevant. As irrelevant as it would be to cite a piece of evidence from World War II or from 1776 to define America's relations with, for example, Great Britain or Germany today. That does not mean that the attack wasn't horrible for the Americans involved, that it wasn't bloody and terrible. The Israeli government paid reparations to the people who were killed. If you look at the actual military record of what happened on the USS Liberty, it was clearly a mistaken and tragic attack. The people who frequently cite the USS Liberty, however, are not talking about the specifics of the USS Liberty. I suspect that the vast majority...
That's a lie. That's a lie. Did you guys watch Candace's she did an episode with one of the survivors. Anyways, we talked about it in a previous show here, but that's a lie.
The people who bring this up are doing so in order to suggest that Israel deliberately attacked an American ship because Israel deliberately wants to harm America. It is connected generally with a larger point. I wonder if that's your point.
If the truth matters, then the Israeli government must be held accountable for that attack. The American flag was flying on that ship. You do not mistake an American ship.
Look at how uncomfortable Ben looks. And he does not want to answer. Okay.
For a foreign one, when our flag is flying.
So, and we can spend the rest of the time talking about the specifics of the U.S. Liberty attack, or you can actually go look at the naval investigations that were done, multiple naval investigations that were done.
Falsified.
The reality is that people were flying Mirage planes for the Israeli military at the time. The USS Liberty was sailing in an area where it had essentially gone off-grid. The Israeli military mistook it for an Egyptian ship. They thought it was shelling Al Arish, which happened not to be true. In the initial attack, the American flag was knocked down, and then the attack went on for about 90 minutes. And then, as soon, you can hear this, by the way, on the tapes of the Israeli pilots talking to each other, as soon as they realize that it's an American ship, they call off the attack, they speed a ship to try and help the USS Liberty. There have been multiple unfortunate friendly fire incidents between Allied forces, including, for example, in the Gulf War, where U.S. forces were responsible for killing about 9 British troops during the Gulf War. It's an unfortunate reality of war, but you're not answering my question, which is, what is your broader agenda in asking the question? Because I suspect that your question is not limited to your specific ire over an incident that happened in 1967.
So he's questioning this kid's intention, like why are you asking this? And he's attacking that and wants the kid to answer for why he's asking the question of why is it not relevant today.
I think we should question any foreign country's relationship with our government.
That's totally fine, but I'm just wondering why you
serve American interests.
Again, I'm perfectly fine with questioning any country's relationship with the United States. But again, I'm wondering what your motivation is in bringing up a 6-decade-old attack as though it is the #1 issue in assessing the relationship between Israel and the United States today.
Well,
So after this part, watch, because the girl holding the microphone, somebody's talking to her off stage. Just pay attention to that. And Ben's such a weak little man. Oh,
many problems persist to this day, but it's interesting that you say 6-decade-old incident when there are many people in this audience who were alive for that attack, as if this is something that's irrelevant.
Well,
that doesn't
no, it's just not particularly relevant to assessing the relationship between the United States and Israel today, in the same way that in 1967, there are a wide variety of countries with which the United States had different relations. Okay,
they're like, don't give him the mic back. Don't give him back the mic.
it's clear you're not going to actually answer the question, so I'm happy to move to this one.
So then Ben just dismisses the kid and says, it's obvious you're not going to answer what your intention is in asking this question. So I'm just going to move on to the next one. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyways, so this kid isn't the only one who got railroaded in that way. I don't have the clip. Maybe I'll show it to you. I can't go on tomorrow, guys. It's our 25th anniversary tomorrow. So I won't be going on. I'll be heading out early for dinner and that, but I will grab it and play the clip for you anyway later at another time. But there's two pastors who are sitting there talking about the nature of debate, and they're talking about how you respect people, you be respectable, you do this. So somebody gets up and asks a question to another young kid, and one of the pastors attacks him even worse than what Ben Shapiro is doing. And this poor kid, I'm like, okay, this isn't debate. This isn't what Charlie did. So, I wasn't a super big fan of how Charlie did it either, because he seemed real dismissive of that at times. But they just full on attack this kid. And if this is how they debate, I'm pretty sure students aren't going to want to show up to debate unless they want to chase everybody out who doesn't agree, and they'll just have a bunch of people who will sit there and just ask questions that they have stock canned answers for. So, yeah. Anyways, it was pretty gross. Ben, you could tell he was weak. He couldn't answer the question. To me, he visibly looked nervous. Debating isn't his thing. I think he just go away, Ben. And yeah, we can all agree we want to beat Ben up. So some of the more disturbing, there was a lot of points. Tucker Carlson, I felt, was excellent. Russell Brand, he wasn't particularly funny, but he shared about faith and he shared about Jesus, and he had some really good things to talk about. Tucker Carlson, I feel, was by far the strongest. Erika Kirk had Nicki Minaj as their surprise guest, which was pretty gross. Not because of Nicki Minaj being who she is, but more of it looked just as bizarre and disturbing and made you scratch your head just as much as every single thing else that we've witnessed since Charlie Kirk's assassination. It was it wasn't good. And obviously I saw later in the day today that Nicki was paid to be there. I don't know if that's true or not, just to tell you that. I wouldn't be surprised, but she's been on record before as to being pretty disrespectful of the administration, and obviously she doesn't hold the conservative values, and allegedly I say allegedly because I don't know these facts. I'm just learning this today as I'm researching, but she's married to or going out with a convicted sex offender. So this whole thing has us all scratching our head of what's going on. But here's this on X, this guy at the Chief Nerd on X, and he said it really well too.
Turning point kind of abomination that the right wing of this country has turned into like a bad reality show And it's all of the fault of everyone, by the way. It's the fault of everyone speaking and everyone attending. And there's nobody that gets everything about this is weird and uncomfortable for everyone. I'm not saying she killed her husband.
It's a fever dream. I feel like I'm living in a fever dream, like all the time.
Or knew about it or whatever. I'm saying the guy got shot 3 months ago, and she walks out to a pyrotechnic display, and then she goes, "We're going to elect J.D. Vance." It's weird that that's where her head is at.
Yeah, they've decided, guys. They've decided J.D. Vance gets the next seat of the presidency. They've decided. They're just telling us. They're informing us what's going on and what they're going to do, and that we can get on board or not.
It's difficult for many people to relate to. It's not relatable for people that talked about how Hollywood isn't relatable and Hollywood is out of touch. This looks a lot like Hollywood to most people. And to go out through a stream of fireworks and sparklers and stand there in a glittering pantsuit and talk about electing J.D. Vance 3 months after your husband was killed, many people feel that there is something off about that. And we're starting to see that political people are the exact same thing as the Hollywood elites that they all love to dunk on. And we all look at this. This is Megan Thee Stallion twerking at the Kamala rally. This is deeply unsettling to a lot of people. It feels like you're being played.
We're being played. This I've continued to say this. This has been a production. This has been a movie studio production from the time Charlie was assassinated up until today, and it'll continue on. It's a Hollywood production, y'all. And we're being played, and they want your money. They want your money. And I mean, they have enough of our money. Like, I don't understand why people want to continue to donate to Turning Point USA, but they want your money and they want your vote. They need your vote. They don't necessarily need your money, but they need your vote. And they're producing it up just to fake you out.
You feel it. It seems off. You feel like this is a coordinated and choreographed spectacle so that you are played. They want your money.
Yeah. They want your money, and they just want you to be on board with what they're doing. So here's did you guys let's see, what is this guy's name? You'll recognize him when I show him. Let's see.
Turning Point USA, you can do it.
What's his name again? My mind just went out. He's always in so many of Adam Sandler's videos. Oh, what is his name? Jeff, do you know his name? Can you put it in the chat? Jeff says, I think we're all coached to make sure. They were all coached to make sure they asked the kids, what's your broader agenda? Yeah, I'm sure, especially after that. Gosh. Okay, so I'm going to play this again, but continue to play this. Here we go.
Thank you. It's great to see.
Rob Schneider, that's his name. Let's see. Lucero, believe in Jesus, rapture soon. It sure feels like these are some end times. It sure, I mean, the Bible says we won't know the time or the place, but this sure feels like it. So anyways, Rob Schneider is Adam Sandler's really good friend, and he's in a lot of the videos, a lot of the movies, and he always says, you can do it, Janique. Yes, Rob Schneider, that's the guy. Okay, so I'm going to put this.
The future of America here this evening. America's going to do all right. I can tell you that, because the future leaders of America are here tonight. I don't know about you, but when I voted November 5th, 2024, I voted for closed borders, I voted for affordable groceries. I voted for lower gas prices. I voted for no more censorship. I voted for no more men in women's sports. And I also voted to blow up small boats off the coast of Venezuela.
Which President Trump was just going on. He was on a live when I was getting ready to jump on here, and he's talking about how we're going to keep the oil. What a gangster move. Anyway, oh.
When people think of the biggest threat to world peace, we often get distracted by China and its growing influence in our hemisphere, or Russia and perhaps its desire to retake Europe, or maybe Iran. But thankfully, we finally have a president who understands the real threat to world peace: Venezuela. You know, Venezuela. It's kind of next to Argentina.
They don't care about us. They don't care about you. They care about themselves and looking as if they care about you and that they care about us. I'm checking my notifications to make sure. I don't want to miss Candace. Maybe she's not going on tonight. Anyway, she didn't notify me, you guys. Anyways,
Argentina, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely below Mexico. Probably. Like all Americans, I pride myself on not being very good at geology or geography, whatever it's called. But it doesn't matter, because we have the greatest, most powerful military the world has ever seen, and that's why I'm being ironic, and that's why it's so important to demonstrate our military superiority by blowing up small single-engine boats off the coast of Venezuela, wherever that country is.
Yeah, I feel like that's just us being gangsters. Like, I just feel it's us being gangsters. It's do you guys agree with that? What do you think of that whole thing? I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about it, but I know when things don't make sense and when things look shady. Candace is on Christmas break. No show this week. Thank you, Davis. So I wasn't sure. I kept listening for all week last week, but that's okay. We can go on because there's some other things I want to cover anyway. Thank you for letting me know. He's being funny. Yes, I know he's being funny, and I'm glad that they allow them the stage to disagree with some stuff.
I'll tell you one thing: Guatemala and Costa Rica better think twice before they fuck with us. But anyway, Epstein. All right. I just heard that Candace Owen has proof that the Venezuelan boats were blown up by the Zionist state of Israel. And it's true, because Candace had a dream about it. All of Candace's dreams come true, especially the dream she had when she was a little girl about one day becoming the biggest grifter the internet has ever seen.
Okay. At that part, I'll take him away. Okay. So I don't want to play the whole thing. It's like 20 minutes long or something like that. So let's see. The South America thing is all about the shifting drug trafficking routes and keeps America out of debt. Expect cocaine instead of fent. Yeah. And then there'll be a new crime wave and a new war on something else. So I wanted to talk about this today, and I'm risking a lot talking about it because it has to do with the spiritual, mystical sort of thing that not everybody gets. And obviously these people who go on and talk about the dreams and mock Candace for that, which I can understand. If you have not had any kind of experience like that, if you do not have spirituality, if you do not have a connection to what I call God, the Holy Spirit, you can call it what you want to for yourself, but it's easy to mock that and it's easy to make fun of it. But I've got some things. I've got a couple of interesting stories to tell you. Hollywood is all about worshiping stars in the occult, and politics is just an extension of Hollywood, and it's about worshiping them and the party. Religion has become about worshiping the church, the institution of it, and then whatever sect of religion that particular church is all about. The wood druids made staffs and wands with which was Hollywood. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure I understand that. Hollywood is all about worshiping stars. The wood druids made staffs and wands with which was with Hollywood. Okay. Well, and a lot of people believe that Hollywood is it's all, evil devil worshipers and all of that. But I've really wondered whether or not to do this, and I'm going to. I'm just going to take the jump and do it. Actors and actresses who didn't play along would end up not getting roles. I believe that 100%. Yeah. One thing Turning Point AmericaFest had going for it is that they gave the stage to some people who would disagree. The majority of people all agreed with, what TPUSA stands for and the administration and all of that. But at least they give room. And I don't know how much they gave room for other people to disagree, strongly disagree. But I wonder if it's going to remain that way because Tucker Carlson was scheduled on AmericaFest before he died, before he was assassinated. He was already scheduled and invited to be a guest speaker. So they would look really bad if they had disinvited Tucker. So they kind of had to stick with the guest list that Charlie picked. So we'll see what that looks like next year, right? But this year it was gross. It was hard to watch a lot of the time, you guys. I did that for you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. So about the dreams, I'm going to get a little bit mystical with you here because I do have some experience with a lot of different mystical things. And I don't mock people who have dreams and I don't mock people who believe in them because some of them are true. We know that the prophetic happens. We know that most of us know, a lot of us know, if we're lucky, that there is a realm that we don't see. Okay, especially if you're a believer, especially if I don't want to, there's people who don't believe in Jesus necessarily, but they do believe in that part of our lives that does exist. So I want to tell you something that happened to me, and I've had a dream. I've had a couple dreams. I know the difference between just dreams where my mind is processing things. They're processing the day, fever dreams that I just can't seem to wake up from here living in America. But I've had intuitions and I've had things and there are times where I'm like, is that a thing or is it just my mind? But some people are able to differentiate. And those times where I've had the more prophetic dreams, I've known immediately. I just know. There's no question in my mind that it's real. Let's see what's markets. Israel is not an ally. Key reasons: the absence of the formal treaty. Israel leaders and the security established. Yeah, they're doing it. They're friends with us as long as they can get what they want and manipulate and be able to control what is done here. How they control that, we can all guess different ways. Blackmail, allegedly, But as long as it is, until it suits them, they will be our friend. But they're working for themselves, just like the rest of them. Anyway, okay. So there's two things I wanted to share with you, and I'll share the first one, and then that will lead me into the second one. Okay. So we went through, my husband and I went through in vitro years ago before our kids. My tubes were tied. I had a child when I was very young, and I didn't want to, at that time I was like, I don't want to have any more kids. I'm pretty sure I don't want kids. I knew I didn't want more kids. And that was from a previous marriage. So then I got married to my husband, and we needed to go through in vitro to do that, so that I didn't want to have the tubal ligation reversed and all of that. People have their own religious beliefs about that. Here's where I was at the time, and this is what we went through. This was a choice that we made. things lined up in such a way that was mysterious and magical because I just so happened to have a job that provided insurance that covered that in vitro. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to afford it. It just lined up that way. And so we went through that. As soon as the eggs were fertilized and we had the little guys on a petri dish, frozen little popsicles, I lost my job and lost that insurance. And so literally it was for a span of time that took place. It was there and then it was gone. Anyway, so we had decided to do that. They had to freeze them at first because I wasn't ready to immediately go in to have the embryos transferred because I needed to heal. So I went through that physical healing process, and then they thawed some of the embryos, and 2 of them were really strong. And I was told, you won't really feel anything when you come in for the transfer. There's no pain. You don't feel anything. You just got to come in. Boop, boop, boop. It's done. You're done. So that's what I fully expected. What happened was a different story on the table. So you could have a monitor. You had a monitor, and it was black and white, if I remember correctly. And it's not like a high res or anything. You just literally see this really skinny, teeny tiny tube, and they're inserting it into your uterus. Sorry if this makes you squirm. There's a bigger, better ending to the story. This is just a process to get there. But and then there's a medium that they put through the tubing that carries the embryos, and they release it into your uterus, fully expecting not to feel anything. So, but I'm lying there, you guys, and I feel this electrical current. It's a very slight, barely perceptible physical experience where there was a little zip, zip, 2 embryos like connected in, like literally plugged in. And I could feel that. And of course, I didn't say anything to the doctor because I'm like, I didn't want him to think I'm crazy or anything because, I'm like, I knew it was real and I knew I didn't imagine it, but I wasn't about to share it with him. Although, I did share it with my husband. So I knew that we would have twins because I felt that life plug in and zap in like that. So we had the rest of the embryos to deal with. After the twins, and so they were frozen. And so we went through the twins, they're going through their toddler years. We only had so much time that we could keep the embryos, frozen, and we had to decide on what was going to happen. And as you can imagine, twins are kind of hard. Let's see, I'll pause for a second. Jeff, I think everyone has a sense of spiritual things, and God shows himself to every individual on earth, just depends on who listens. Matthew, whoever has ears, let him hear. Yeah, and the way he shows up, I feel, is it's very personal and individual. Yes, the spark of life, Cisco, it literally was. It was an amazing feeling, an unbelievable feeling of having that zip zap in there like that. Please hit the subscribe button. Click all notifications bells so that you can get notified when I go live. Please heart on the side where the chat is. Thank you for being here. And so twins it was hard, you guys. It was so hard. And they were toddlers, and I'm like, smash the like chat. Yes, please. And so it came time to decide. Like, they're like, what do you want to do with these? We have to decide. And you have 3 options. So, and again, this is controversial to some people, what I'm about to tell you, because, of pro-life, and there's a lot of people who go to one end of the spectrum or to the other. So you had to decide. Your choices were: 1, give the embryos to science. I wasn't about to hand over embryos to science. The other one is you could choose to adopt your embryos to strangers. I wasn't about to have strangers raise my babies. And so I say babies, and then in the next breath I'm saying, but I don't want to have a baby. The other option, another baby, and the other option is to dispose of the embryos. I know that sounds harsh, and it, at the time when I'm going through it, I'm only thinking of, gosh, I don't think I can handle having another kid. And what harm is it going to do? Because they're really not even like, they're just cells. So that was my thinking. And they don't have, they don't have a soul, they don't have a spirit, they don't have consciousness, they're not connected in, they can't survive on their own. Anyway, so my choice to me was the clearest best choice was to dispose of the embryos. So we made that decision and agreed to that. So we signed the papers, sent them off. I told, so that's what was going to happen. In the meantime, I had shared this, what our choice was with my sister-in-law, and she's a Christian. And she says, well, how does that measure up? How does that stack up to your Christian beliefs, about that and the destruction of embryos? And I was like, I'm fine with it. I'm good. I just know that I'm not ready to have more babies right now. And, that's what we need to do. Or, keep them frozen for however indefinitely. I don't know how long you can. But anyway, and so I was like, yeah, I'm good. So that was a decision. So I, at sometime later, I don't know how long after she asked me the question about that, but I was very certain and very at peace, happy with my choice. And so I don't know, it wasn't very long, maybe a week, maybe within days. So I had a dream. And here's where the dream happened. Okay, so I was in this dark, like warehouse, this warehouse building. I just had an awareness it was a warehouse. That's what it felt like. I'm in this big vat, this big like metal vat of fluid, and it's warm. It's like body, warm to the body, not hot like a hot tub, more a really warm, comfortable bath. Like I guess what I would assume probably embryonic fluid feels like. Anyways, so I'm in there and a voice comes and speaks to me and fills the room. And I can, it's not just a voice where you hear it in your mind. It was a voice that I could hear in my mind, yes, but also in the dream in my ears. And the voice just gave me instruction. It wasn't an overpowering voice. It was just a voice, right? And an authoritative voice, an all-knowing voice, which I recognize as the voice of God. And he said, I want you to call the clinic, and I want you to tell them you've changed your mind about the embryos. I want you to call them and tell them you changed your mind, and I want you to save the embryos. And when you do, and when you decide, and I want you to have a baby, and when you do, have them take out all the embryos. And when all the embryos thaw, there will be one strong embryo that they'll say will be survivable. And you have them transfer that embryo. And when you have them transfer that embryo, it's going to be a girl. It's going to be a girl, and I want you to name her Hope. I want you to name her Faith or Hope. It was like the same feeling or meaning. So when I came out of it, I more thought it was Faith, but it was like a combination of the two. Like her name should mean both those things. Excuse me. And so I woke up from that dream very clear, and very much knowing it was God speaking to me. And okay. So I had called my sister-in-law and told her about it. She says, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I'm going to do what he said. I'm going to call the clinic. So you guys have to know this part is when you call a clinic, and even back then I called the clinic every time I had to make a call to them, it would go to voicemail. They'd get back to you when you could, usually within 24 hours, unless, it was like an important thing you were going through a procedure. Anyway, so I got off the phone with her. It's around lunchtime. I'm like, okay, well, I'll call the clinic. So I called the clinic. It was typically their time when they're off to lunch and would expect to get the voicemail as usual. But they answered. She answered the phone on the first, like after the first ring. And I told her my dream. And she says, so you changed your mind? Do you want to keep the embryos? Oh, because that was the other thing God said. Because in my dream, I'm telling God, I'm like, hey, but we already signed the papers. We signed the papers to have them dispose of the embryos. And he said, they'll still have them. They will still have those embryos. So I told her, and she said, so have you changed your mind? And I'm like, yeah, I think we have. But, do you still have the embryos? And she says, actually, we just so happen to have the embryos still. We haven't sent them out yet. And we were just getting ready to do that. And she's like, so that's your decision? And I'm like, final decision. Yes, we save the embryos and we're going to have our girl. My very first son that I told you about from a previous marriage is a boy. And then our twins were boys. And, I wanted a daughter and just didn't think it was going to happen. And I wasn't like yearning to have a daughter, but I thought it would have been a nice thing. Although, this dream certainly made me really excited about it. So, anyway, we, had them keep them on ice. And we had, I think, I can't remember, it was like a couple more years to decide, when we're going to do that. So went back on ice. Fast forward a few years, and we had been renting a home, went into an apartment to live because we had bought a home and there was an interim time. So we were in the apartment until we closed on our new home. And I'm at home alone and I'm taking a shower and I sense a presence. Have y'all ever had that where you just all of a sudden you sense a presence, like it feels like somebody's looking at you or anything like that? Anyways, I had this sense that there was a presence, there was someone looking at me, but nobody was home. So I peeked out of the shower curtain, and in my mind's eye, like more in this like spiritual, because I don't see it with my physical eyes, but it's like almost like this vision in my mind. And I'm like, I've never experienced these things before. And like, but this is happening. It's a little girl. I don't recognize the little girl. It's not like I could make out details. It was more of like, I could get a sense of the spirit of this child. And she smiled and giggled and turned around away from me and then ran out the hall, the other room. And I was just like, huh, okay. And like I said, I had no frame of reference of why this would happen, or that it didn't even make sense. I just was like, that it was just like, that's weird. That's interesting. And, I kind of just left it and forgot about it. So anyways, so we had the embryo transferred. I told people I knew it was going to be a girl. I told people about the dream. And of course, people are like, don't get your hopes up. It may not. And I'm like, no, I know. I know that I know that I know that I know. And transferred the embryo, everything, went as planned. And I thought of the name Garrison. I had read the word garrison in the Bible, actually, that meant the fortified, strengthened city, because they built a garrison around their encampments. Anyways, and I thought, whoa, I would love to make that feminine and make the name Garrison Faith, and she would be a strong woman of faith. And so we had our daughter. It was a girl, guys. Anyways, there have been other times where I've had dreams, and I know that I instantly know when it's the thing, when it's the real deal. And so with people mocking Candace and, oh, she had a dream, guys, they don't have a spiritual life. Obviously, they have no spiritual life. If you can mock that, it's because you were ignorant to the fact that there's a spiritual realm and that we are all spiritual. And there's that aspect of our being to all of creation. Cisco says, I've heard that as spirits, we chose our parents. I've heard that too. And I wasn't sure if I believe it, but I sure tell you, there's been some things I've seen since where people had a precognition and an experience with a spiritual experience with a child that hadn't yet been born. So that happened. And so, she's our daughter. She's a senior in high school now. And she's a strong woman. She's still figuring out her faith and working all that out, as we all do. It's a very personal thing. But I know that God called her forth for a purpose, as he does all of us. So I had to tell you guys that because, like I said, and I'll share other stories with you other times, but I know it to be real and a factual thing. And anybody who wants to sway you or change your mind, don't let them. Just know they're ignorant of it because they haven't had that experience. And when you do, it's undeniable. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing. So that leads me to the next thing that I'm going to tell you, because this is even wilder. Back in November 2024, I had another dream. All that it was really was a dream of God showing me a scripture in the Bible, and he wasn't speaking or anything. It's not like it just felt like a God presence, and it was directing me to a specific book of the Bible. I'm going to put my notes up here so I can see them. Hold on. Let's go. If I were mean, I'd say they don't have prophetic dreams because they're demons, but I don't think they're demons. They're misled people who can be redeemed. Yeah. Yes. Because we will. And as the end times get closer, we will see our children and more people having these prophetic experiences. It's going to happen, and it's happening more and more all the time. Okay, I'm going to put this teleprompter on here so I can, I'm not sure how this teleprompter works. It doesn't look like it's working, so I'll have to read from the side. Okay, that's kind of lame. Am I supposed to push play? I'm just talking to myself. Okay, so anyways, there's a teleprompter feature, and it's only given me like the first line, which I don't understand. It's supposed to work. I don't think it's working. Or I just don't know how to. Operator error. But anyways, I have my notes. I don't need them because it happened to me. I know what it is, and I don't have to think about it a whole lot. But when I'm talking to you and I'm live here, I want to make sure that I don't leave anything out. Anyway, so I'm not a political person. I never have been. The greatest interest I paid attention to in elections was this last election year, before Trump, because I really felt like this is important. Like, I don't even know. All of a sudden I'm like, something's going on. And I felt this real urgency to pay attention. And I imagine a lot of people are feeling the same urgency, because this doesn't happen in a bubble. It doesn't happen to just one of us. Like, when this happens, it starts popping off like to more than one person. Anyway, so I was being shown this, the book of the Bible called Habakkuk. And it's not like one of the ones that you hear about often. And when something's being highlighted for me in this sense, like, it gets like big, like magnified so that I can see it. There's plenty of times I have dreams and I'm trying to see something and it doesn't come into focus and not clear enough for me to see or remember. But this came in like very magnetized, and it was Habakkuk. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so this was November 8th of 2024 is my journal entry. So I think I had the dream, and I told my sister-in-law about it, and I'm like, I need to read Habakkuk. And so it was 11/8 where I actually read it and then wrote in my journal about it, because it had been like probably 1 to 2 days between the time. So here's what I wrote in my journal. And I know, and again, this is one of those times where I know this is from the Lord and I can see it coming to pass this year. And it felt really weird to, like I shared with her, like I feel like I have this message and I feel so stupid saying it because how dumb is that? Like I would be anybody the Lord would give something more of an importance of world events to tell me about. Like, who am I? I don't, like, I'm nobody. Like, why would he even tell me other than to maybe pray and to have my eyes open? But here's what I wrote. I had a dream that the Lord was showing me something in the Bible, and it was in the book of Habakkuk. And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. But it's spelled Habakkuk. So it's the first time in a very long time that the Lord spoke something specific and directly. I feel it was about keeping things in perspective. The people in the story were more worried about keeping themselves comfortable and building mansions. I have that in quotes, mansions. They're building. Oh my gosh, you know what? It just occurred to me how much Erika Kirk is saying, we're building. We're building. This is it, you guys. This just hit me. She's been saying like that's her thing. She's like, we're building. Anyways, they wanted to keep themselves comfortable and building mansions, and they needed to focus on a relationship of vitality with God, which they weren't. Like acting like it, but not doing it. I also believe that God is telling me that the era today, 11/8/2024, marks a point in time, I'm getting goosebumps, marks a point in time that government and life as we know it is the beginning of an unraveling. That things are going to get bad after a time of believing that things were pretty good, that things were well for the USA, that we need to be praising and worshiping and teaching people about God more and even more than ever. It was very good to hear from God like this again and reading a specific book he called out. I've never had that happen before. Thank you, Jesus. So let me look at what your comments are here. The new Epstein death video is ridiculous. He's alive and well and in Australia. Yeah, probably. Awesome story. Jeff said awesome story. Anyway, so that happened. That hasn't to my recollection, something like that, a specific verse and then reading in the Bible and really knowing and understanding what the message was of it happened. So it happened. I put it in my journal and it occurs to me that it's coming to pass. And I believe this was a forewarning of what it was to come, not only in our lives, but in government. And specifically, as I'm reading this to you guys, and I just realized how much Erika is saying we're building, I 100% believe that this is pointing to TPUSA and our government. Wild. What do you guys? Wild. So y'all can think I'm crazy. I know I'm not. But I know it's easy to make fun of it. And I know it's easy to tell people to be dismissive of it. But I fully believe 100%. Yeah. So that was it. I really have been holding off on that. But since when I saw Rob Schneider here tonight, I had no intention. Like I've thought about talking to you guys about it and telling you, but I'm just like being more careful and anyways, waiting for the right time. And it just hit me. I'm like, tonight, I need to do it tonight. Yeah. Somebody in the chat said earlier that she's on break all week, which I didn't realize. I don't remember hearing her say that. It makes sense. I wondered that, but yeah, apparently she is on break. She needs to tell us these things more clearly. We need a schedule. Candace, can you please make a schedule? Anyways, I always miss it when she's on. Like or when she's not on, and look forward to when she gets back mostly. Let's see. Let's go. I never paid much attention to TPUSA until after Charlie was shot. Now that I learn more about them, the more alarmed I am. It is. It's alarming. I didn't either. I had no idea. Let's see, Jeff. Someone in the chat said she's on Christmas break for Candace. Someone said the chat. Teresa is covering a few things, and yeah. So, I won't be on tomorrow or Christmas. I actually probably not this week. I really thought Candace was probably going to go on, but I knew that I needed to, whether or not she did, I needed to come on and talk about this because so many people are mocking her dream. And if you came in late and you didn't hear, make sure you go back and listen to it. Because I share, I share a really important dream. There have been other ones. I think I posted, actually around Halloween, I posted about a dream I had of my brother dying before I knew he died. Anyways, that was near the end, near Halloween. It's a video. You can go back and take a look at that. But that happened. And so there's some other really interesting and unique experiences that I have had. One of them was in a Bible study. I'll tell you guys at another time. But I know that it's real. So just wanted to encourage you on that because, people, I feel like so many people make fun of it and it can make you go like, yeah, and maybe want to be just, not necessarily want to be, but just continually plant those seeds of doubt. I don't know if Candace is 100% right. She probably isn't, not 100% right? I don't know. I believe she believes what she's saying. I believe she's doing it for good reasons, for not for selfish gain. I believe that. But I think all of this chatter can really make you put seeds of doubt in there and make you go, oh, maybe not. And we'll find out. We might not find out for sure everything that's happened. We might not uncover it and get to the truth until years later, like we do a lot of these things. But I think there's truth to it, and I believe something deeper is going on. And now even more so since I shared that message with you that I wrote in my journal. So Jeff says, even if she's 50% right, that's 100% more truth than, woo! That is good. You guys, send Jeff some claps. That's really good. And you are right. I love that. 100% more truth than we've been given so far. Yes. They're probably targeting Candace with fake tips. That's what I've thought too, Cisco. It's hard to figure out what real, and even as much as they try to vet it, if the government is as corrupt and dirty as we know they are, as we're finding out they are, they could fake metadata, couldn't they? I mean, they have all this technology, they have all this stuff. They could be sending her disinformation to make her look stupid, to make her drive her crazy, right? To make her look crazy. For sure. If they can do all that, they can fake witnesses and all that. Yeah, whoop whoop, Jeff. That was truth bomb. That was truth bomb right there. They can fake that. They can make her look ridiculous, and I'm sure they've tried. And with this week that she's taken off, I know that she'll be able to get more clear and have some space in between it and be able to gather some things. And so we'll see. Erika Kirk, she was on with Nicki Minaj last night, and she's saying, I'm just not going to listen to the noise. We're building. Gosh, you guys, I should post that note for you. I should post it for you so you can go back and read it and watch, because I think there's something there. So I don't know. Did you guys hear about what was happening with Mitch? So there are reports that, he has domestic abuse, that he was only a special, what was it? a medic in the special forces, and they're claiming that he's running around telling ridiculous stories to get people to create GoFundMe's and raise money for him and feel sorry for him. And so what Candace is sticking to, well, okay, whatever, but I was able to, she's saying I was able to we vetted everything, and what he's saying about being in that place at that time is true. So debunk that is what she's saying. A government entity could put fake receipts into places and have owners of like rental car places and hotels say the lies. For sure. Yeah. And that Candle Suites Inn that he was staying at, that Mitch was at, I would think they have, security video, I would think. So, what is Alex Jones went on also onto X and onto his show. I don't know if y'all saw that, but he was going on and saying Candace needs to stop too. So now he's doing that and coming out against Candace in that. And he's one of the bigger voices who are reporting that this Mitch is a fraud. So we'll see. I don't think I've heard anything more about Governor or Congressman Mark, whatever his last name was, the one who Mitch claims that he saw at that big meeting. Somebody did say something really interesting though. And I think it was Alex Jones. He's like, these things, when there's a big hit, when somebody's going to be assassinated and they want to kill somebody, it's not this big production when speaking of the government, right? And mercenaries and all that. They don't have all these people involved. It's done. It's done, typically not in public. And it's done really quickly and, no, in kind of secret. He's like, it just isn't something that there's all the more people who know about it, there's more that can go wrong. The more people involved, the more things that can go wrong. So that's an interesting thought. But if the message, and I believe this is the message, you guys, this is the message, shut up. And I think they're going to try to shut down social media. I just have this sick feeling that they are working on being able to under, what is that called? Sorry, my mind just forgot the word. National security. For reasons of national security, we're going to suspend your account. We're going to suspend all of social media. Watch. They're doing this is a means to be able to control us. And what if they want to make Candace look even more crazy by giving her disinformation so she goes out spreading this over social media and it gives them reasons? What if, so this is the thought, what if that's what they're doing? They are just trying to look like they're saving us from ourselves, because then the rest of us are speaking. But I think, if it's what we think it is and they assassinated Charlie in person, it's because they want us to get the message to not speak out like that and play into the whole end of talk about conspiracy theory. I mean, it was just a means to get us into this, talking about this stuff to be able to shut it all down and control it. Instagram reduced the number of hashtags you can put on. So TikTok had only allowed you to put 5 hashtags. Instagram, you could put any number of them, but now it's changed to be more like Instagram or TikTok. And my TikTok account was closed down, you guys. I had posted, somebody had been turning my videos in for one disinformation and saying it went against community guidelines, and nothing was. And nothing was. 2 of the videos they re-upload or let me keep. 2 of them they didn't. And then the next thing I know, I was going to go put a post about Candace. It's probably one of the last, I think one of the 3. Oh, it was the one about saying, if you look back on my videos, saying that Erika Kirk TPUSA was manipulating Candace with that private sit down, that they wanted to get Turning Point USA employees scared. The insiders, they wanted to scare them and spook them And so they could flesh out who that person was who was giving Candace tips. But anyway, what's Jeff say? The other video from TPUSA where they asked what the agenda was for asking the question. Yeah. Was there Pastor Wilson dismissed? Pastor Wilson dismissed the student's question about why we support Israel with such an arrogant answer and just shut the kid down. He did. So sad. It was actually a great question. Actually, I have, my husband gave me a note here that says where that video is, day 3. I'll see if I can find it real quick. Anyway, they're working on that, you guys, and I think there's going to be a provision that's going to limit us and be able to shut us down in instances of national security. And if they feel like they're panicking that they're going to lose the Republican votes, and I think they think that's a big national security to them. So, yeah, I would say that's in the works. It just feels like it. When I got started doing content creation, it was because of a Hollywood sexual harassment lawsuit that was happening between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, because I felt she was lying and it was unjust. They were trying to destroy a man's life. I initially believed her and believed it, but then as I heard more and saw more, I was like, they're trying to wreck someone, and it's not right. And I felt a burning to really put my voice into, put my support to that. But Blake Lively sued content creators. If you guys aren't familiar with the story, she subpoenaed content creators, wanted to get all of their banking information. She wanted to get all of their social media information. She wanted to know who they were talking to prove a smear campaign was against her. And it didn't happen. So anyways, I felt like that was a point where guys are going to slowly start chipping away at our rights of free speech here on social medias. So let me see if I can find that. Let me share my screen. If you guys want to see it, if you want to stick around for that, that's cool. Let's go. Search. AmFEST 25. Day 3. Thank you for finding that. Day 3. So now it's just trying to find the right one because they have. Is this the whole thing? Go to 2 hours. Yeah, because this was ugly. These pastors were sitting here talking about debate and then they turn on this kid. It was gross. 2 hours, 7 minutes.
All of the Christians that had the truth saying you knew.
These girls, you guys, this whole thing felt fake. That's the thing. All of this, it felt like they were robots reciting lines. If you think Erika Kirk was bad and you've seen her on her interviews, it was like over and over and over again this happening. No, this was last night. So this was last night.
Man, we need a healing.
Video. Okay, my mouse wants to. Day 3. Day 3. This is probably it. Oh yeah, because it's a 10-hour. Okay, so we'll go. Let's go. 2 hours is 7 minutes. Okay, it looks like we're kind of close. Yes, these two. Oh, you guys, just was so sick. But anyways, they had women coming on talking about, you know, the having babies, being married and all that. But it was all fake. Things are so bizarre. It's just so bizarre. Okay.
Prophecy, and that Jews have a divine mandate to hold 48 of it. Pardon my use of notes here, because this topic and time are so important. This is the view that the church is Israel now, and is the lawful heir of all the covenant blessings promised in the Old Testament. This is the view that in Romans 11, the Apostle Paul describes.
So he goes on. Okay, so now so that first guy said his thing, and now this is the one that was so rude to that poor kid.
Cassette tapes, Doug. All right. So it is my honor, countless is that.
So much for that opening statement. Now over to you, Steve Deace.
Well, I have to just say, on a personal level, I mean, one of the voices that God put into my life very early in my conversion to disciple me was Doug. And I mean, I've listened to countless. It was so long ago, it was cassette tapes, Doug. All right. So it is my honor to be here on this stage to get my brain beat in by Doug today. I can't wait to do that. I don't disagree really with anything. I wanted to make sure the ecclesiastical authority here, Doug, defined the terms. So let me define, since he's the pastor, I'm the pugilist, maybe I can help define the terms of the debate itself now that the actual terms are defined. There are great minds throughout the history of the church that have had great differing views on what Romans 9 through 11 actually means. And it's so funny, terms like dispensationalist are a buzzword today. I'm not even a dispensationalist. And replacement theology, I would also say on the other side, is a buzzword as well. And a lot of times these are terms that are thrown around so I can instantly determine whether you're on my team or not, right? But that's not the seeking of truth. That's really the installing of tribe, all right? So there's parts of Romans 9 through 11, and what does it mean? Does it mean there'll be a future congregation of country?
Did you hear that? Which is exactly what they're doing. It's an installation of tribe.
Of Israelites in a place called Israel. You know, it's funny, Jonathan Edwards, maybe the greatest preacher in American history. We may not be here today without Jonathan Edwards. He entertained a lot of what, out of the Reformation, that era, we would probably consider today, at least in polite comments on Jews and Judaism, maybe even to the point of anti-Semitism. And yet, Jonathan Edwards also believed there would be a future country at the end, and Romans 9 through 11 would be fulfilled by a future recongregation of Israel that may be the place where the timeline of prophecy and history is ultimately fulfilled. And so you see the nuance there, right? And what you see a lot in my industry right now is people that are not studied, that are loud and uninformed, that do not understand these nuances, that frankly were not discipled by pastors like Doug, do not seek out the discipleship and the accountability that Charlie did. As his friend, I can tell you, I saw it personally. I saw how Charlie interacted with his own home church personally. I saw Charlie go out to pastors like Rob McCoy to get added extra accountability personally. I saw how Charlie had his own traveling theologian in Frank Turek in order to check his work and be held accountable personally. He took the position that God put him in very seriously. He took accountability and wisdom very seriously. And I think that there may be some good-meaning people. You absolutely can applaud for that, you bet. And I think there might be some well-meaning people in my business who are new Christians and are asking a lot of these questions, and I think that is fine. But I think they also are doing so without maybe connection to a local church and real biblical discipleship and teaching, and we want to fill in some of those gaps here today. And then I think there are, frankly, some bad faith agents that are maybe bringing up some of these things in order to cover for what their real agenda is. So let's just set one term of the debate. Regardless of what we prophetically think Romans 9 through 11 happens to mean, and there have been great minds all throughout the history of the church who do not agree on this, the one thing Romans 9 through 11 makes very clear, the one thing St. Paul himself, the Hebrew of Hebrews, makes very clear, and my final position is this: you are not allowed, Jesus does not allow you to be an anti-Semitic jerk face. Thank you.
Steve, thank you very much indeed. I just want to give you, Pastor Doug, an opportunity to respond to Steve's words, and then in turn I'll ask Steve to...
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. Basically, personal animus, personal hatred, personal venom directed at anybody is simply out. right? You can't magnify the ways of Jesus by defying the ways of Jesus. Jesus required us to not be like that.
Okay. It's personal venom, hate, animus, disrespect.
And of course, if someone asked me, are Jews trying to take over the world? I'd say, well, a Jew already did.
The fact that Doug, it would certainly be news to the Chinese that the Jews own all the banks because the Chinese think that they do.
Look, I know this is an issue on which there'll be a lot of questions and a lot of feeling, a lot of strong feeling. But we want to open things up now to the floor, and I think that there's some. I can see some people queuing up there in a line. Yes, sir. Would you like to go first?
I'm Corwin. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. And my question is, how can people even consider that Israel is our greatest ally when the Talmud says blasphemous things about Jesus Christ and claims that non-Jews are subhuman?
So I felt like he gave a really great answer on this part. Because he says, the Talmud, you have to take it in its entirety. It does say some things that you wouldn't want to listen to. It also says some really great things that are wisdom. So I guess I've not read it, but apparently there's some dark, disgusting things in there. But you take, you leave those things out, is what he's saying.
Very quickly, whether or not Israel is our greatest ally is a political question, and as I said in my comments, totally in bounds. We can talk about foreign policy and whether or not Israel is our greatest ally. That's one thing. The second thing is you have to realize that the Talmud was a collection of writings over the course of 800 years, and it's as though you have someone gathered up all the issues of Cosmopolitan magazine over 800 years. And then you said the Talmud said, Cosmopolitan says, well, which rabbi, which time, which century? There are some, if you get my book, American Milk and Honey, there are some horrific things in the Talmud. There are also things in the Talmud that are pure exegetical gold. Right, so you're talking about centuries, and you can't just say one thing, the Talmud. It's too simplistic. I don't mind condemning the things in the Talmud that attack Jesus Christ or attack Christians. I'm a Christian, so I reject that. And whoever did that shouldn't have done that. But there are also things that I have personally learned from the Talmud that are just wonderful insights into Scripture.
Let me add to that, if you don't mind. A lot of people think England is our greatest ally. You can get arrested for preaching the gospel on the streets of England right now, not in a Talmud written 800 years ago, but in the next 8 minutes you can. There's a lot of people that want the Chinese to be our greatest ally because it'll make them a lot of money. They make sure that they forcibly abort children, particularly their girls. And they buy up American intellectual property and pirate our commerce and economy. There's a lot of people right now in our movement that want Qatar to be our greatest ally, and all they're doing is taking Al Jazeera TV and beaming hate into all the Muslim immigrant homes that we brought into this country since 9/11. So they're now more radicalized on the streets of the United States than they are over in the schools of Wahhabism in Saudi Arabia. So when we can play this game of darts and throw jello at the wall, like greatest ally and things of that nature, you can pick and choose whatever you want to do in someone's agenda because man is totally depraved and we're all sinful. Here's what I can tell you. If you're ever beginning from the premise that somehow an alliance with Israel is inciting Islam, with all due respect, you are ignorant of 1,300 years of world history. For 1,300 years, there was no nation on the earth called Israel, and we had Islam. And Islam just left us alone. They were great with, is that what they did, Doug? They were great with the West. They loved us. We were just peaceful. They all wrote with the curved sword, right on their curved swords. Right on the curved swords of Islam, they had the coexist bumper sticker, right on those. You could read it, in fact. Right before it smited your neck, you could read that. All right? That's just simply not the truth of history. And we have a president right now who is a deal maker. Ask yourself, look at the historic deals that Trump has cut in the Middle East. Ask yourself, if there were no Jewish state whatsoever in the middle of that region, who would he deflect to for leverage in a negotiation? How would he get the Saudis and the Egyptians and the Jordanians to the table if he didn't say, listen, if you guys don't want to negotiate, I'll just go ahead and give Israel all the weapon systems we haven't given them yet to make it even. You need leverage points in negotiations. And earlier this year, who was it that launched the drones that shot down the Iranian missiles aimed at the Iron Dome?
Speaking of, okay, this isn't, oh, here it is. Here's the one we wanted to get to. Anyways, there were some points made there. It's a little above my head, over my head, some of that stuff. But one of the things they've been beating into us, and they were trying to beat into everybody, is that all is well with the United States. We're doing great. Like he just said, all the deals that have been made are good for a handful of people.
Have on America.
Not compatible with Western civilization.
Okay. So this is the one where he completely, look at how he treats this kid. And these are pastors who were just talking about how to treat people and people you disagree with.
Thank you. Thank you both. Question over there, gentleman over there.
What is the greatest issue that Israel is doing to America? Like, is it AIPAC? Is it collateral damage? Is it Jewish billionaires? Like, what's the greatest issue that they have on America?
Take this one first?
Yeah.
The premise of your question essentially says President Trump is a schmuck, to use a Yiddish term. I mean, you're essentially saying that Trump is a schmuck and the tail is wagging the dog, that somehow he's not in charge and some secret cabal of people are yanking his chain. And then he doesn't know what he's doing. The people leading our government don't know what they're doing. That people are not critical thinking. And so I would ask you, what is the premise of your own question? I mean, are the Jews with you today? Are they there in the room with you? I mean, what's the premise of your own question?
Do you see how demeaning he is to that? Are the Jews with you today? And this is not what the kid said. The kid asked the question. And look at how he just goes on full attack.
I think there are some issues with Israel. I think AIPAC should register with FARA. I don't know how much collateral damage should be having in Gaza, but there's a certain limit of how many innocent children and women that should not be dying. I agree bad things happen, but there is a limit to collateral damage.
How many limits were there on October the 7th, and when did you post about those limits and your concerns?
You're comparing 2,000
So he deflected.
people to 60 to 70,000 people.
What's your evidence of 60 to 70,000 people? Where'd you get that?
Ask any artificial intelligence where you would get unbiased information, and you would find a consensus of that data. And I would also like to hear,
I think that's what you kids today call a cell phone. Thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Did you want to comment on that?
Yeah. The thing that needs to be asserted here is that there's a longstanding statement that the first casualty in any war is the truth. There's the fog of war, propaganda, atrocity stories are the...
So what do you guys think of how he treated that kid? And then they end with, what's so crazy. Oh, wait, here. Yeah, they end with how to treat people. Like, it was gross. I hated it. It made me so mad. Okay, so the other thing that was going around is AmericaFest, Turning Point USA put up a tent that replicated the tent that Charlie Kirk was assassinated in so that people could get selfies. Does anybody think that's weird? What in the world? That was crazy. That was a report that was made. There was something else. Oh, I lost it. Anyways, it was a whole lot of fakeness going on. The interview with Nicki was just kind of gross. And I mean, it was nothing they said, but it was empty. See, this is what it felt like. Tucker had fire. He had spirit. He spoke through truth. A lot of all the rest of it was flat. It just was flat. They'd get up there and yell a lot. They'd yell at us to get their point and speak really loudly. But it was empty. This is bizarre. Anyway, so bizarre. That's all, that's all I've got there. I'm sure there'll be other stuff. Watch for my posts. Even though I won't be going live, I think I won't be going live. Maybe I'll go live and surprise you guys, because what if something happens and I want to go live and talk about it? Are you guys here for it? Please hit the subscribe button, notification bells on all notifications so that you can get notified when I go live. Like the live stream and hit heart in the chat next to the chat. Okay, Cisco. That's like taking a picture of a replica of JFK. Yes, of the limo sitting where JFK. It is in such poor taste. It is disgusting. I watched about 36 days, 40 hours worth of TPUSA. Hey, girl, you're committed. He literally did. He sat through all 3 days of this with me. And I was hoping to get some good stuff out of it. I also got the book, Stop in the Name of God, Charlie's supposed last book that he supposedly has written. I don't know if that's true or not, but I have intended to take a look at that. for you to see. Yeah, Cisco. It was she couldn't handle more than 5 minutes at that event. It was gross. It was just a giant commercial, like I said, just like the memorial was. They paid good money, between $350 to $1,000 to get a seat. Oh, yes. And a lot of the times in these sessions, there was so many empty seats. They claimed to be doing really well. It seemed they said on the website that tickets were sold out. I don't know. One of the listeners last week said they were taking their kids to it. Hopefully they'll pop in and say at some point how that was. But there was a lot of empty seats. The bigger name people had drew in bigger crowds, but it wasn't what they're saying. It was the big successful, it was their sellouts for sure, but definitely flat. It was awful. It was brutally painful. Jeff said to watch it. It really was. And I actually was excited and thought I might be able to learn something new or get some new information or, be enlightened in some way. Or I always, whenever I look at these things, I do it with, for the sake of analyzing and to watch. And most of the time I'm looking for some sort of spark of redemption that can give me an inkling that, there's some good there. And I really didn't. I'm not a Megyn Kelly fan. I don't trust her. So I don't even know where that, I must have skipped past that or went through, got super 2 times the speed. But she said a lot of the same stuff. Nothing new. You guys didn't miss anything. I wouldn't pay money to go have a bunch of political people get up and pitch their next election. The same stuff that we can see for free. Yeah, one big commercial for the most part. Really did love how some people called some things out though. Yeah. Russell Brand, if you can watch his. Tucker Carlson's really good. Other than that, it was trash. Pure trash. It is a production. All of this has been a production. Charlie Kirk, I think if they did it, it was to do it in front of us to scare us all. So, anyways, that's all I've got for you guys tonight. Thanks for being here. It was nice to see you. And sorry we didn't get to see Candace, but hey, I wonder if she's off for 2 weeks or just Christmas. Where did she say that? Anyway, okay. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Please subscribe, follow me on the socials. Obviously, somebody took down my TikTok account. I do have an idea of who that was. There's somebody who is another creator who was supposedly my friend, and they hated how I posted and reported Candace Owens stuff. That person is over on TikTok. I believe they kept reporting my videos because they hate Candace and they hate that I support Candace and give her, any attention whatsoever. But yeah, that's another story. They had been real nasty to me. So good night. You guys have a good Christmas. Merry Christmas. Look for other videos. I'll see you next time, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for being here. Bye.